Hey everyone, welcome back to Super Lorcana World, your one-stop shop for everything Lorcana. Today I'm going to give you guys my first action control deck. Lady Tremaine, being able to recycle actions, makes for really good control, because action cards are really good in this game. So this is version 1, it's implementing yellow cards, or amber cards like Ariel, and song cards that get you value, because songs are really cool, and they play for nothing. And we have ways to make those songs do even more work for you in this deck. And this deck is all about playing action cards, recycling resources, and preventing your opponent from, doing things, playing the game. That's what this deck is all about. And there's a whole bunch of ways you can build this deck. Now, I just picked 60 cards, but like within even the Emerald and Amber archetypes, there's still so much you can do and change in the form of Lady Tremaine action control. So I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile. Do let me know anything in the comment section below. Like and subscribe because we're a new channel. We need to grow. And don't forget that this mat that I'm showing you guys deck profile on is a luxury gaming Lorcana mat that can be 2 players or 1 player. If you want it, there's a link in the description, and then there's code MGW, which gets you 10% off. And with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started here with the deck profile. And it's going to start with just... Before I start going into the curve here, I'm going to talk about the main card of the deck first, Lady Tremaine. Lady Tremaine here is a 6 cost that cannot be used for ink. It's a 1/5 that quests for 1, and when you play it, return an action card to your hand. It doesn't specify color, any other restrictions, it just says, do it again, and add an action to your hand. And speaking of do it again, we are also playing 4 copies of do it again, which is the same thing, just an action. There's actually a really cool loop that I'll show you with this when we get to it later. But yeah, we have 8 cards in the deck that say return actions from discard to hand. That seems really good to me, and that's kind of the whole gimmick of the deck to help control things. Now we'll do things starting with the Emerald cards on curve. So 4 copies of the Duke of Westleton. It's your 1/2/2 for 1. We play it because it helps you with the aggro, you know what I mean? Having a 1/2/2 can prevent your opponent from doing anything funny, like questing Lilos and Maleficent's turn 1 for 2 lore, you know what I mean? I'll show you zoom in a little bit more here to zoom in. Okay, there we go. So I have 4 copies of that because you'll love to see it. Now on to the 2 costs, we play 4 copies of Genie. This is a 2/2/3 for 1. We may or may not be playing something that shifts on top of Genie. I guess you'll have to wait and see. But besides that, it's just vanilla. It can be used as ink, which is really good. You might want to use it as ink later in the game when it no longer is super valuable to you. We're also playing 4 copies of Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider is a really aggressive card in terms of lore. It's a 2 cost, can be used as ink for a 1/2 that quests for 2. So they want to get rid of it, right, as soon as possible, but has an ability that says whenever this character is challenged, the challenging player must discard a card. So by getting rid of it, they're already playing into your control game by discarding a card. And speaking of discarding cards, we're also playing 4 copies of Sudden Chill. It's also a song, so like you can play it for free by suspending or exerting any 2 cost character. And it can be used as ink, which is really good. But yeah, it's just each opponent chooses and discards a card. So you're forcing the opponent to discard cards. This is really beneficial early game, because if you can force your opponent to just discard the whole hand in the early game, then they're top decking for the whole game, and that puts you in a really good position to just win out from there. I think 4 copies of Sudden Chill is really cool. Just so you guys know, in the meantime, I've tested this deck against decks that are considered to be good, like Ruby Amethyst, the Sapphire Steel deck, a couple other decks as well, the Stitch decks, and like the deck works. It has a good win percentage over all those decks, just because like even against Ruby Amethyst, right? If you can like discard the whole hand early on, they're top decking. That's awful. So like seriously, no one would if you discard their hand with cards like that. And by the way, we're playing a couple more discard cards as well. You're going to force the opponent into some really awkward spots. And we love forcing opponents into really awkward spots. So I think the hand discard portion is actually really cool in this version of Control. I like it a lot. It does really come in handy because it messes with your opponent really well. And that's nice. Last 2 drop is 2 copies of Cruella De Ville. Cruella De Ville is a 1/3 that quests for 1 that can be used as ink later on. When this character is challenged and banished, you may return chosen character to that player's hand. You might want to return your opponent's characters to hand, but you can also return one of your own. And if it was a really good on play, like Lady Tremaine or Ariel, you might just want to do that. So 2 copies of Cruella is fine. You don't need 4. It's not a 4 by any stretch of the imagination. It's not like a aggro green emerald deck, but it's fine. It's really good. Then we're going on to 3 costs. We're playing 4 copies of Mickey Mouse Steamboat Pilot. We might also be playing this card because of its ability to quest into something else that we play in this deck. And 3/4 for 1s are pretty good. And again, if you get to the point in the game where you're drawing this card, it can be used as ink. It's not really a big deal. But it's pretty good. Pretty good card. One last 3-drop in the deck, and Mother Knows Best. It cannot be used as ink. It is a song that's really cool. And what it says is that it returns chosen character to that player's hand. I am not the biggest fan of this card. I'm really not. More often than not, I'm actually using the card to bounce my own stuff later in the game to like do it again effectively. But I can't deny that there are some cards that if you bounce them are really annoying. Things like Aladdin that would have summoning sickness all over again are really good to bounce. But you don't want to use it against things like Big Elsa or like Mickey Mouse big ones, or you don't want to use it against freaking Maleficent the Dragon, or, you know what I mean? It's got a lot of weird targets that you do not want to use Mother Knows Best on them towards later in the game, because so many of these cards have on-play abilities. But you know, something like Aladdin or your own stuff, you know, things like that, bouncing a bodyguard so they can go all in or whatever, there's good value there. There's good value there. Yeah, that's it for that. Then we move on to the next cards, which are, we actually went along and we're moving past 4-drops and 5-drops for green. So we're going on to 6-drops, and we're playing 2 copies of John Silver. John Silver is a really interesting card. It's a 6-cost inkable card that's 5/5 and quests for 2. It says when you play this character or quest, chosen opposing character gains Reckless. Reckless means that they can't quest and must challenge if able. Reckless is a pretty cool ability on things not like the Evil Queen that can just tap to do their things. But like something cool that you want to quest with because it's big and it quests for a lot. John Silver says, nope, you can't do that. So that could be really annoying because your opponent might need to quest. Or even on little things like Lilo, like frig, you can just make it so Lilo has to attack your John Silver and that's it. Like that's pretty good. So yeah, I like John Silver a lot, and it can be used as ink, which is awesome, also really important. This deck has the lowest ratio of non-inks to ink cards that I've ever played in this game. And like it's worked out, it hasn't been a bad thing, but I think having more ink cards where you could play more ink cards is pretty cool. Now we go on to some boss monsters here. We played 2 copies of Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue. It costs 7, but you can shift for 5. So it can be a 5-drop, which is fine. What it does is whenever you play an action, chosen opposing character can't quest during their turn. Now, it doesn't give it Reckless, it doesn't say it has to attack or anything like that, but it just says, yeah, you can't quest. So again, things like Lilo or really big things that really want to quest that can't, like things like Maurice, they can't quest anymore if you just play actions. If you loop Do It Agains with Mickey Mouse on the board, multiple things can't quest all of a sudden, and then if you're not exerting any of your own people, then they're not doing anything. And that's a really good turn, honestly. And questing for 2 on a 6/5 body is actually pretty good. And then we play the last Emerald cards, 2 copies of Genie, Power Unleashed. Late game, this card is a menace. You play for 8 or you play for 6 with Shift, and it's a 3/5 that quests for 3 that has evasive, and then whenever this character quests, you may play an action with 5 cost or less for free. All of your actions in this deck cost 5 or less. So just being able to quest for 3 and play an action for free is really powerful, because not all of your actions are songs that you can just play for free if you want to. So being able to play actions for free is really good, or playing songs without having to like tap a character for them, really good. This card's a menace because it has evasive, that your opponent has to deal with it. If they don't deal with it, it's going to run away with the game pretty quickly. And you can do this as quick as turn 6, right? If you have Genie on board, then turn 6 you can shift into this, quest for 3, activate the effect, and then it just snowballs from there. So the card is really powerful. And that's it for the Emerald side of the deck. We're going to move on to the Amber side now. And we're going to start with 4 copies of Be Our Guest. You cost 2, it can be used as ink, and it is a song. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, add a character to your hand. Pretty good card, a lot of characters in the deck. Sometimes it misses, sometimes these cards whiff, but usually they don't, it's fine. Then we're playing 4 copies of Ariel with Singer 5. All your 5 cost or less songs can be sung with Ariel, which is fine. It's okay. It doesn't really come up too much in this deck, but it's a nice ability to have. What it is really there for is its ability on play. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, add a song to your hand. Adding songs is really good. It's a 2/3 quest for 1. It's pretty disposable, honestly, but it is there to help you get a song. If it gets a song, it's just free value from there. Then we're playing 4 copies of Part of Your World. A song that can be played for free, costs 3, can't be inked. It returns a character card from discard to hand. The loop is if you have like 12 ink, you can do this every turn. Lady Tremaine adds back an action. So you add back Part of Your World, and then Part of Your World can add back Lady Tremaine from the trash. And you can do it all over again. And that's really good. That's a 9-ink combo. I don't know if it's a 12, but it's a 9-ink combo that just constantly recycles your Lady Tremaines, which is really powerful. It gives you some recursion to things like Be Prepared, that board wipe you. You can just, all of a sudden, you know, Part of Your World, Lady Tremaine, bring back Part of Your World, bring back Lady Tremaine, you know, and you can start building resource momentum like that again. And then you start using Lady Tremaine to grab back other action cards, and you're doing fine. So it gives you a lot of recursion. It's a really cool combo. Part of Your World is a mandatory card in this deck. Now, the next card I'm playing with a 3 of, and I want to find room for more, but I'm playing 3 copies of Ursula's Shell Necklace. This is your song Payoff. I'm okay with 3 because it doesn't always come up and it can't be used as ink, but whenever you play a song, you can pay a power draw card. And it doesn't tap. Doesn't exert itself to do that, so you can like theoretically play 2 or 3 songs a turn, pay the extra power, and draw 2 or 3 cards, like just like that. So it gives you draw power in this deck, which is sorely lacking. It's why I want to play it at 4, but I think 3 is the sweet spot right now for Ursula's Shell Necklace. But you know, I want to try 4. If you guys try 4, let me know. On to 4 drops. We're playing 4 copies of You Have Forgotten Me. Each opponent chooses and discards 2 cards. I have definitely, against opponents, turn 2'd like Sudden Chill, and then turn 4, freaking this card. They lose 3 cards by turn 4. It only costs you 2 cards to blow 3 cards out of there. And as long as you keep getting like this one back, it's good value, because then it's a 1 for 2. And 1 for 2s are better than 1 for 1s, especially when it comes to hand discard. So this card is actually really powerful. It's not a song, but it's a really powerful card. And if you can get them 0 cards in hand, the game is over for them. And the last 2 cards in the deck are 2 copies of Rapunzel. Rapunzel's actually crazy. We all know what this card does not, but I think you heal up to 3 damage, you play it, you draw up to 3 cards. It's pretty bonkers for a 4 cost, a 1/5 that quests for 2. And yeah, that's version 1 of Lady Tremaine Action Control. Lady Tremaine Action Control does a lot of cool things for you, allows you to play yellow card, amber cards like Part of Your World to constantly recycle them. And honestly, the deck's a lot of fun. Like, if you like playing control, if you're coming to Lorcana as a control player and you don't know what to play, this might just be the deck for you. Because this deck just controls your opponent, it controls your board resources, forces your opponent to discard cards, and they're playing your game at that point in time. And again, as soon as they're top decking and you're not top decking because you have a Shell Necklace and you're drawing cards at the end of their songs, it's over for them. The game is all over for them. And that's going to do it for this deck profile. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I will see you later. Bye!